Welcome back to another edition of the Return the Picks podcast, where once again we're looking at all things American football and then throw a little bit of gambling spice just to, make things interesting on top of all the NFL action. Myself, Ollie Wilson, Jazz Gillum, and Dave Bluck. We're delighted to welcome back former New England Patriot and Super Bowl winner Shane Vereen onto the podcast today as we started to break down the big game. Super Bowl 55, the Bucs against the Chiefs. The Chiefs looking to repeat, of course, with Patrick Mahomes. The kid goat taking on the big goat, Tom Brady, Shane's former teammate. Hence why we figured that Shane would give us some real insight into the big game on Sunday. We also got into a whole lot of other stuff. Prop bets, Gatorade colours, longest penalties of the game. Anything else really around the NFL as well in the build-up to this game. What it's like being involved in a Super Bowl build-up. A whole lot more. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast.
Over the middle, picked off! Sees it, fired, intercepted! Blitz coming. Pass is picked off!
He's going to go looking again, and it's picked off by Stephon Gilmore down on the right sideline.
Into the end zone, and he's picked off! Back the other way.
Anyway.
Yeah,
let's talk some football, Shane. What do you reckon about the Super Bowl then? Let's distract ourselves from this nonsense.
Yeah, true. Let's see. There's a team I want to win. There's a team that I think is going to win, and I think it's pretty cut and dry. Like I would love to see Tampa win for Brady.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see greatness. Like I just want to see him do something that 10 Super Bowls, and if he won 7 of them, that's insane.
Yeah,
that is like absolutely insane.
Yeah, it'll never happen again.
No,
well, don't say that. You can't say that.
Well, Patty could do it.
Mahomes could do it.
But he could do with winning this one to have a chance of doing it. I mean, you got to get them while you can because they don't necessarily come around that easy.
No, not at all. And I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep that Kansas City Chiefs team together. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like they said, most teams you have like a 3-year window to really like do something. And last year they really took advantage of it. This year, and then hopefully they can do it again next year. Because I like the underdog story and all that's cool, but like I really like seeing guys win and keep winning and continue to win. Like that's more impressive to me than an underdog team just winning one, like getting that one win. When you can do it consistently over and over and over again, when you're getting everybody's best shot, and just continuing to beat them, that speaks volumes.
It's almost like you played for the Patriots. It's weird that you would think like that.
I don't know where I get that from. not Atlanta. I know that much.
Oh!
I had to.
Oh, he got that in early as well. He got that one in real early. I love that.
How it goes.
Well, what are they doing down there? They fired Quinn, right?
Yeah, Arthur
about
Smith.
time. Arthur Smith's the new
new head coach. He was the offensive coordinator at Tennessee.
Okay. Yes, that's right.
So, very uninspiring name. I think it's going to take a while for people to remember his name because it's just really boring. But he's all right. I can't remember the name off the top of my head of the GM that we've got. I'm more excited about him because he was
the guy from the Saints.
Yeah, he was in charge of this Saints scouting for 5 years. And they obviously had some really good draft classes in that time. So I'm more excited about him than Arthur Smith.
Terry Fontenot. Fontenot?
That's it.
Say it again,
Okay.
Ollie?
That's probably why I didn't want to say it because I couldn't. My head was like, you can't say that. So it just forgot it.
Terry Fontenot, apparently, Jeff.
Fontenot. Okay, cool. I'll wait till an American says it, and then I'll maybe follow that.
I didn't even understand what he said.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, by the way, Shane. I'd love to see Tom win it this weekend.
Yeah.
And I think the same as you. My brain says the Chiefs to win it, but my heart says the Bucs. Yeah. And I could really see the Bucs doing it much like the Giants did the Patriots in that 2007 season with a really strong pass rush. and trying to really limit their big plays. But it's hard to do against that, just athletes everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard. And I know that 2 weeks rest for young Mahomes is going to be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could tell he was pretty banged up there the last couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah.
And that Bills game, there was a couple of moments where he was still like not moving that freely still, because they were talking about the turf toe that he had and everything. And but then you give Tom Brady 2 weeks with his TB12 program
to mentally prepare,
all that kale. I mean, becomes a superhuman with that.
So those super smoothies.
Yeah. What I think I think the Bucks jump out to an early lead, and then I think the Chiefs settle down, because for me it's like it's going to be interesting for me to watch, especially Tampa Bay, because Brady, Gronk, and JPP have Super Bowl and a lot of playoff experience. Nobody really else on that team has that experience. On the other side, Kansas City, all those guys have experience, and all those guys have experience in winning. So I think eventually that's going to take over. Plus the confidence, plus the confidence of when they played earlier this year, and Kansas City was able to beat them, and Tyreek Hill went bananas.
The only thing with that game, though, is that although he went bananas, after the first quarter, it all kind of settled down for the Chiefs. So the argument could be made, if I'm really trying to make it to convince myself, that the Bucks D figured them out a bit more. So they understand how to try and limit those big gains and big plays. And if you look at the San Fran Super Bowl from last year, if the 49ers had kept scoring points in the fourth quarter, they'd been fine. But because they stopped, that was the trouble. And who loves to score points in the fourth quarter? Tom Brady.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely see it. I hope, but I just I don't know.
The brain gets a hold of you, yeah.
Yeah, until somebody beats Mahomes, I can't say that like betting against him's a good bet,
Yeah.
On the flip side, betting against Tom Brady's not a good bet either. Who would have thought that they would have went to Lambeau and beat that Packers team? That was ridiculous. And he threw 3 picks in that game too.
Yeah.
Should have been 4, but the safety dropped it and then let the touchdown go right before the halftime. That killed him.
Yeah, absolutely.
That Green, I don't know what Green Bay was doing. And then, of course, I'm sure you guys have talked about the field goal decision.
Yeah. What was your take on that?
Dumb.
Yeah. Well, why do it?
I just don't. I don't get it from any angle, and I haven't heard any like pundit or like podcast that I listen to about American football give me a reason why that's a good idea. So like, I really don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it. When I was watching, I was extremely confused because I was like, okay, because then they kicked it deep. They didn't even go for an onside kick.
Yeah.
No.
So
they still had to score.
Yeah.
So what the
Nothing
fuck?
changed. They still had to have a touchdown. If they'd missed the 4th down, the Bucks have it on the 8-yard line.
Right. So now you give them the ball with good field position, and you're up 5. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it makes zero sense.
None of that makes sense. I guess I did hear somebody say, like, statistically, you can make the argument that was the better decision. I'm like, yeah, that's fine and all, but you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. I think. Yeah,
and you've got Tom Brady on the other side, who's like the best 2-minute drill quarterback ever. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Talk about it statistically. I'm sure I saw a stat where if you looked at the history of the NFL and the teams that have been down by 8 points, but had 4 to 8 points at that point of the game, on that yardage and that down, I think of the 150 times it happened on 4th down, only 3 of them had kicked it, including that one from Green Bay. So basically never everyone ever does that because it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were driving. They had the defense on their heels.
Yep.
The momentum.
Or just could have run on that 3rd down. He could have got another 3-4 yards. If he hadn't have dove, Devin White was probably going to smash him. But if he just got down, it's 3 more yards. You're closer. You can try and rush it in or not. It's up a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. I did understand that, and it's going to be interesting to see where Aaron Rodgers lands next year. I would be very, very surprised if he's still in Green Bay.
Really?
You're convinced he's leaving?
That's a good take.
I am. I'm convinced he's leaving.
Okay.
Why? Yeah. Why do you say that?
It seems like the Rams made a play for him, didn't they?
the Rams might have tried, but I know one of my friends is a Vikings fan, so he was hoping that because the Vikings are trying to trade Cousins, and so they're thinking, I'm like, Aaron Rodgers not going to the Vikings.
What, he's going to do a Brett Favre?
Oh, that would be hilarious.
It's already weird enough, right? That their careers are fairly similar.
Yeah, but I don't see Aaron Rodgers coming back to the Green Bay. Just the presser after the game, he did. I mean, I understand he was pissed about the loss and stuff, but since then, I just haven't. He hasn't seemed like, I'm Green Bay till I die type.
Yeah.
He's just been like kind of silent about it, and he kind of threw Matt LaFleur under the bus.
Yeah.
After the game a little bit, and if you're thinking about coming back, that's usually not a smart thing to do. So I don't see it. The Rams are going to be good though, I think.
Yeah, I think Stafford makes a huge improvement to that passing game.
Absolutely, and I hope it works because they gave up a lot.
Worth every penny though. If Stafford,
worth every penny to get rid of Stafford's get rid of Goff's contract was a thing.
Yeah, which was smart.
Yeah,
really smart because now you can put more keys around them. I think they need like one or two more receivers.
Yeah, I totally agree.
They don't have a number one.
Yeah,
Robert Woods is a 1.5 is what I said about Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp is the 1.5, but he's just not healthy enough.
Yeah,
often.
Yeah, Robert Woods would be like one of the best number 2 receivers in the league.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I think we talked about that before, like being a number 1. Like, look at Juju. Like, he's the number 1 receiver now, and ever since Antonio Brown left, he hasn't gone over 100 yards in a game.
Yeah,
like it's not like you can still get paid and be a number 2 receiver. It's fine. Everything comes with it. You'll win more games. You'll score. You'll have better stats. All the stuff that you want. You don't have to be like the number 1 receiver. Which is probably one of the only positions where you don't have to be like the guy to really like perform well.
True.
Yeah, it's like Calvin Ridley in Atlanta. I mean, if he was the number 1 guy, he'd get covered more, but he's got Julio Jones on the other side that gives him a lot of separation. So he looks like the number 1 guy this year, but that's probably because of the single coverage he gets because everyone's looking at Julio. I mean, there's a lot of guys like that in the league that will play off that, either that slot position with what's his name? The guy in Buffalo, Diggs and
Beasley.
Beasley. Cole Beasley.
Beasley gets a lot of plays off the fact that Stephon Diggs is now being double covered all the time and running the guys off deep, so there's more space underneath. That's kind of what the Rams need as well. I think we spoke about it last time we spoke to you in week 5 about Brandon Cooks. They missed Brandon Cooks, and as soon as we spoke to you, Brandon Cooks started going off a bit for the Houston Texans. Like a good luck charm for him. It's like, where's Brandon Cooks? Oh, there he is. All right, there we go.
And then he disappeared again.
Yeah. Then he, went away again.
Got injured probably.
But everybody disappears in Houston. Like everyone's leaving. So
that's true. It's a ghost ship around there.
Oh, it's bad over there right now. I don't know if anybody wants to go there right now.
No. I mean, also the coach they hired, David Culley, was the funny thing with him was he was the wide receivers coach of the Chiefs the year that the Chiefs receivers didn't have a touchdown. Yeah. And he was the passing game coordinator for the Ravens last year that was really not very good.
How did he get that job?
I really don't know.
He did really well.
Yeah, you fail upwards in America. That's how you get to the top.
Well, in the Texans organization,
doesn't get anywhere, does he? It's ridiculous.
That makes no sense. The enemy doesn't make any sense to me, but I don't know. But to be honest, I think there's some jobs that you might not necessarily want. Even if you're going to be a head coach, doesn't mean this might not be for me.
Yeah.
I'll stay here with Patty and win all these Super Bowls, and then, eventually.
I would say just take over Andy Reid. Stay there. Keep working with him. Take over Andy Reid. That's what I would do if I was Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? They respect him. They love him out there. So
absolutely.
And Mahomes is probably, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be playing for probably like the next 15 years. So, I mean, good Lord. 15 years.
It's weird to go from like Alex Smith, the perennial almost guy, to the guy, and it just changes how you look at that franchise's future completely now, especially when, a lot of the quality in this team is a team that they've built through drafting and smart free agency purchases for maybe not much money and things like that. And you compare it to the Bucs team, which is like the all-star team of everybody on the pylon with Brady, compared to the Chiefs, which is the long, slow growing process of getting to this team. And it's hard to argue which one's more unstoppable, to be honest, because the Bucs, you think, I don't know about you guys, but the Bucs, I think if they get everything going really well, they can be just as unstoppable as the Chiefs. They just haven't had the growing time that the Chiefs have had. But the Chiefs are also in sync already that it's like, well, we're just good to go from midway through the first, maybe the second quarter in every single playoff game. They still take a little bit of time to get into these ones. They fall behind a bit, and then they get going again.
Well, Brady in the divisional round looked like as good as he's ever looked. So, if he can play like that, then he can definitely just keep up with Mahomes. It'll just be whoever's got the ball last.
Right.
So he's just not limited. When we started this season, I just assumed that he would be because the way he finished with the Patriots. And it just didn't. He's just got better and better. And now he looks like he's closer to 2007 Tom Brady than a 43-year-old quarterback who should be on his way out. It's wild.
Yeah, that defense is going to be. I mean, I think what's making me hesitant about the Bucs is just their inconsistencies throughout the year. In the beginning of the year, their defense and they look pretty good. Middle of the year, they look pretty bad, and then they picked it up and stuff like that.
Even in the Green Bay game, Shane, on that point, they were up and down. The whole time, it looked like they were shutting Rodgers down. They got 5 sacks. They're getting crazy pressure. The coverage was really good as well. And then suddenly the kind of levee broke, like the Chiefs can do. That offense in Green Bay is similar, kind of high-powered. And then they score 3 touchdowns unanswered. So I don't know. It just depends who shows up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's and that as talented as that receiver core is, they had a lot of drops. It felt like in the NFC Championship game. Granted, you can call it whatever you want, but you can't throw 3 interceptions against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl and expect not to be looking at 40 to whatever you have.
Yeah.
And it's going to go crazy if they do that.
Well, the other thing is that Chiefs D against Buffalo, which has been such an exciting offense to play against, they were so good at getting pressure from so many different places, bringing DBs in outside blitzes and getting pressure up the middle. And Josh Allen's a very different animal to Tom Brady. He's very raw still. And
slightly.
And in the big moments, he still seems to struggle with that composure, but he still didn't have much time, a lot of the time that he dropped back, to even think about settling himself and getting his head refocused again and looking downfield, which was kind of what the Bills did all year. I mean, the Chiefs defense got the pressure time perfection in most of that game.
Yeah. And the problem the Buffalo ran into is they weren't able to run the ball.
They need a running back so bad.
That was same all year.
Yeah, which the Bucs have 2 good backs. So that's going to play a part too. I don't see Kansas City calling the same game defensively that they did, against Josh Allen. Typically, when you go against a quarterback like Brady, you have defensive calls that you haven't shown all year.
Mm-hmm.
I would be surprised because Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, he especially on third down, he loves single coverage and brings pressure. It's going to be interesting to watch how and when he decides to do that, because you can't leave Evans and Goodwin one-on-one for multiple times a game. That's just not smart. Especially with no safety cover. There's no safety help over the top. So I think it's going to be interesting to watch how the game is called on both sides of the ball. Just in that sense, because you're not going to be able to do the things that you've been doing, whether you've been doing them well or not. More typically, the things that you've been doing well, you can't always lean your hat on those things when you play a quarterback like Tom Brady and when you get to a game like the Super Bowl. It's just, things even out and you get burned. And when you give up big plays in the Super Bowl, it's extremely hard to come back from them. So limiting those big plays, but I don't know a person on this planet that can cover Tyreek Hill for 4 quarters. So
no, I think prime Deion Sanders could have done it, but that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That's about it. Yeah, you think about it, that's probably it. I don't know how you bottle that up for 4 quarters. I mean, San Francisco did as good of a job as you could have done last year, and then even still, what was it, 3rd and 13?
Yeah, he finds that 25-yard gain. Yeah.
And then there you go. Dam is broken, and now we're just scrambling trying to get a stop.
And they tried something similar on the interception that Mahomes threw not long before that wasp pass or whatever, where Hill got into a similar pocket of space, and the linebacker, I think, just read it perfectly and jumped the ball at the perfect time to take it and kind of kill off that drive. But it was something that, if in doubt, the Chiefs know they can just keep looking to that, because he's got the pace to get to those bits of space where he can have 5 yards of separation from basically anybody and makes it a free window.
Exactly. And I don't know. So you can't play. So like, you don't want to play too much zone against Patrick Mahomes because he'll pick you apart, right? Or he'll use his legs. You don't want to play too much man because there's going to be a lot of single coverage. So we double Tyreek. Then we have McCole Hardman and Travis Kelce to deal with. So let's double 2 of those guys. And now McCole Hardman. Who's the other receiver?
Sammy Watkins, if he's healthy.
And Demarcus Robinson.
If he's not got COVID from his haircut,
Yeah, whoever's going to be whoever's left to guard them one-on-one isn't as good as they are.
Yeah.
So it's gonna that's kind of the back and forth I'm going to be looking for, is like, how are they matching players up defensively and offensively,
Shane, when all
when
all the dust settles on these kind of trips to Super Bowls and stuff like that, I don't know. You always imagine that the teams stay obviously super close together almost every single year. You think, because you play for a whole year with guys and everything like that. But does it fall apart? Kind of those relationships a little bit from once the full-time whistle goes in a Super Bowl, you have the celebrations. Is there like a big Super Bowl WhatsApp group that people are all a part of and stuff like that? I mean, does it all stay as together as we see? With the big players, will obviously all stay in contact, and sometimes you pessimistically assume that it's maybe for I'm going to stay with him because then 2 brands can join together and all that kind of stuff. But is it still like a high school reunion type thing at any time or anything like that, or what?
I mean, there's so much movement after seasons now for guys moving to different teams, whether it's contract or trade or whatever it may be, that like you stay close with the guys that you were close with. But I mean, especially after a long season like this, going all the way to the Super Bowl, for like the next month, after we celebrate and have a good time, I don't want to see any of you for like a month.
Oh, really?
Like I've been seeing you guys every single day for the last 8 months of my life. We could take a month off.
Take a break. Yeah.
And still be friends, And plus, it's off season, so everybody goes their separate ways and trains wherever it may be. So there's a little bit, but I think. To your point, Ollie, I think it's more or less the movement of players during off season that really kind of disrupts that, because rarely do you see a team that's together for like 3 years.
Yeah.
In recent, it's been like 2 years is the max, and then there's like a lot of shifting and changing going on.
But that's why you wonder, because it's unfortunate. I was going to say, it seems sad that you go through, a full season together, even if it's, not to get to a Super Bowl or anything, you play a full season of hard teamwork where everybody's getting bashed around the place, and you're going through more physically in your bodies than you will ever do perhaps in any other period of your life. And then it all just disrupts and falls apart and kind of is fallen by the wayside. And, friendships that will maybe just like a day-to-day friendships kind of get lost and you drift away and drift apart kind of thing. I just wonder if that's like almost a sad element of the game in that sense, because,
It is. Yeah, It is, and that's why I think more guys are paying attention to the front offices of these organizations. You know, are they typical front office to where they like to treat everybody fairly and keep a team together? Because there are teams that are good at doing that, but it's more likely than not, it's out of the players' hands.
Yeah.
You know, like when I left New England, I remember calling Coach Bill and Belichick and telling them I wanted to stay, you know, but contract-wise, they just couldn't make it happen.
Yeah.
And then I had to make a business decision for myself and my family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's unfortunate, and that gets in the way of it. I mean, you know, and it all depends. Like, you know, as a running back, I have a window of time, you know, to really get a good contract. It's not like you know, other positions you can play for 10, 12, 15 years. So it's not as like urgent to get that contract. So that factors into it, you know, and salary caps and all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, if a team wants you there, they'll clear the space on the salary cap to keep you there.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, you have to clear the space and you have to get rid of some key guys. So it's, you know, but that is also what makes the game good, in my opinion, because it evens the field. Like every year, each team like percentage wise, each team has the same opportunity to win a Super Bowl based off of how the salary cap is run, based off of the amount of money that teams have to spend. You know, it's not like baseball and basketball where there's not really like there's a salary cap, but you just pay a tax if you go over. Football, you know, like you're cut off, and that's what it is. So they do that to try and even it out. And in order to do that, you kind of have to break teams apart, especially the good ones.
Yeah, I mean, this time last year, we're not talking about the Bills and the Bucks being in AFC and NFC championship games. You know, I mean, maybe the Bills, there's a chance they take the division at this point, and even then, people were still thinking the Patriots might have it, and the Bucks with Jameis and everything. I mean, it's what makes it enjoyable. It just, I don't know. I love as like the kind of sporting romantic side of it, of the, we all get up together and we go up to like Randy's Wing Bar and we have some drinks and we reminisce about the season and all that kind of stuff. And it's like,
that does happen. I mean, it does happen. Probably not maybe at some restaurants, but like I just saw Julian Edelman a couple weeks ago. He came to call. He was going skiing.
Oh, cool.
And we went and had lunch and stuff like that for a little bit. And so like that stuff does happen. But like I said, it's with the guys that you were probably closest with, and throughout the season you keep in contact with them and just, you know, keep tabs on each other. It just depends on So I mean, it's sad. It is sad. And you do miss those guys like a lot. But if you do your due diligence to like keep up with them, then it works. It's fine.
What's it like, Shane? What's it like? They're not going to get the chance to do it this year, I'm guessing. There won't be any like proper parties afterwards like they would normally have. What's it like? Well, like when you won, and like, you know, other years you're talking to other players and stuff. Do people just want to be with their families after the game, or do they go and get really drunk, or is everybody just too knackered? I don't really know what players do after.
Well, it depends if you win or lose.
Oh yeah, okay. No, win.
Always win.
I'm talking about win.
Yeah.
All right.
If you lose, you don't want any part of a party. That is a sad party. I'm not having that.
Yeah.
Winners.
Yeah. So typically, not this year, obviously, but typically, like, you know, the teams will have their respective after party parties or after game parties. Excuse me. Like post Super Bowl parties where they'll have like performances. And that setting is fun because like, it's your family and all the other players' families, and there's good music and food and drinks, and you party till like 4 a.m. if you want to, right? So yeah, I mean, you want to be with your family. I think you're with your family probably for like a little bit, and then a lot of guys, depending on the city, might go out to like a bar club or something like that. But each team usually has a fun like we had. Who did we have perform for us? There was like 5 performers. We had like a country singer that I don't remember his name. Then we had like Rick Ross. We had Flo Rida. We had Pitbull.
Oh.
We had there's one other guy too that was like the main at the end. But so everybody just kind of hung out there and got trashed. And then the next morning you drag yourself to the plane and then you go back and then you have the parade.
So I thought performances is going to be like small things, not like major headline worldwide acts. That's insane.
Yeah. What if you lose? What if you lose then? What do those acts do? Because they're booked for the night.
It's like, probably the worst gig of their life.
It's just a very different crowd. Yeah.
Just go out and just bomb.
I'm not going to go and watch Pitbull if I just lost a Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I'm going home. Like, I'll see you guys.
Mr.
I'll see you guys at training
feel
camp.
Good about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah, I've been a part of both. When we lost, some guys just because there's a team playing back, but like if you lose, you're like, I'm out of here. I don't want to go. Go somewhere tropical.
Sit in a dark room or something.
Yeah, when you win, it's a lot more fun because everybody goes back together. Everybody hangs out for like the 3-4 days before the parade starts. So in that time, you're all together, going out to dinners, going out in the town, and really, really
living it up.
When did that happen after the win in Arizona, though? Because I'd never been into a Super Bowl locker room post game, but I'd seen videos and all that kind of stuff, and I went in there. Yeah. And the Patriots locker room after that game was not somber. There were high fives and people were happy and stuff, but it wasn't like wild. I mean, the Chiefs last year, going in there, it was, club dub and then some. It was insane. People were going off the walls. There were cigars being lit all over the place. And after your win, I spoke to some people that had been in post-game locker rooms at Super Bowls before, and everyone was like, yeah, that was really kind of weirdly chilled out. Very Belichick way, as in, yeah, we did our job. Our job was to win the game. We won the game. But like, when does were you guys holding it in before leaving the locker room and then you go and like, yeah, okay, now we can let loose or what?
It's because, especially when there's a bunch of reporters and stuff in there.
Stealing jerseys and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So what did we do? So I guess after the game, you're on the field for a little bit. And then we went to the locker room. Some guys had already left. Some guys were still trickling in off the field. So maybe that's why. Maybe you caught it during like a weird time. But I know as soon as we got on the bus, we were going.
Sweet. Damn it.
And then that lasted for like a month.
That's a long bus ride, man.
Yeah,
Damn.
that was an eventful month in my life. I will definitely say.
Do you remember
how much of it?
Yeah. I remember most parts.
That's good.
I remember the big stuff. Because let's see, because we went back to Boston, so I was out there until the parade, and then the parade was so much fun. And then a couple of days after the parade, I went to LA because that's where I'm from, and that's where I usually do my workouts. But that whole first month, I was just meeting up with teammates and stuff like that, and we were just having the time of our lives, pretty much.
Nice.
That's awesome. Man.
Yeah. And then eventually you have to be like, oh, man, there's another season coming. Maybe I should stop drinking at 9 a.m.
I've put on 20 pounds. Yeah.
Maybe I
have to play fullback, Decisions need to be made.
Yeah. But no, I would say there's like the group of guys that hang out in the off season in LA. There's like the group of guys that hang out in Florida, and there's like the Texas. I would say those are like the 3 biggest states where guys in Arizona, 4 biggest states where guys like move for the off season. But typically also in the off season, everyone's traveling around. So I might be training in Texas, but I'll be in LA or Miami for the weekend, for a long weekend, and then I'll go train, and then I'll go fly somewhere else. Just meeting up with, like Ollie said, meeting up with teammates and friends and stuff like that.
Nice.
So
That's what I want to
fun.
hear. Meeting up with the teammates after the game, like 3-4 months later, having a beer and reminiscing, kind of cheesy, like reminiscing over college days again kind of thing and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, there's all of that. Yeah, especially after a good season. Whether the season ends in a Super Bowl victory or not, after a good season, typically you'll see guys. Yeah.
Nice, man.
And it's fun. It's a good time.
What about
It's a good time.
What about the build up to a Super Bowl? Are you doing anything this year? Actually, are you kind of one of the guys that's doing a lot of Zoom calls and stuff for getting the e-game stuff out?
No, well, yeah, with ESTV, we're having a Madden tournament that's leading up to the Super Bowl, with the NFL Alumni Association. But this year, I'm really not doing much at all, to be honest with you. Nothing, and I'm kind of okay with it because I'm kind of over like the Zoom shows. That like, did you watch like the Pro Bowl? Like, it was like I would have rather them just not have it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't seem like real fun, and I'm kind of like over like the Zoom TV shows and stuff like that. I mean, I think everybody is, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, they should have done for the Pro Bowl is had every Pro Bowl player play themselves. So they allowed Madden to have, so the center plays as the center, so they have to block everyone. And then you find out who does and doesn't play Madden. And then, as you would do to the 8-year-old Korean kids, make them feel terrible. You just have that, but they'd all sort of, if one person misses a block, you'd have all kind of 20 players or 21 players just having a go at them. It'd be the level of trash talk on that would have been fun, and that would have carried over a bit better. But having just the 4 they did was just waste
and
of
then
time.
and everyone's talking over each other, and everyone's screaming, and it's just muffled sound, and it's kind of messy. So I hope that this is the last year where we have to do all that.
Yeah, I think we've all found that outside of like even doing this pod, like 4 is really kind of
the limit.
Yeah, like maybe you can, like I've played poker with some of my friends from back home, and you can have like 6 or something doing that, but you're kind of doing something. If you're just sitting talking, you can't have it more than a few people because it just doesn't. You just all talk over each other, and it's just awkward. It's just weird.
It's like my family's Zoom calls that we have, like for Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that, where there's like 15 people and everybody's talking at the same time, and nobody can hear. Oh my goodness gracious! Especially when you have like older grandparents who can't really hear that well, anyway.
Yeah, and they're going like this with the Shane, are you there?
Yeah, exactly. Talking to the camera. I'm like, no, I can hear you. Back up.
Yeah, Grandma, I can see your nostrils. Thank you so much.
But that's why I've got no interest in any of this, like, Super Bowl build-up press conferences and things like that. I know a couple of people that have been on these, I guess, the media night, opening night that they kind of had over Zoom and stuff. And it just sounded, it takes away all the excitement and the thrill of getting involved in the kind of the scrums of trying to talk to people and chatting with people or just randomly in the crowd and things like that. Everybody's waiting their turn to ask a question on a Zoom call as if you're doing it like a family reunion that's crap over Thanksgiving, but it's the Super Bowl. It just removes the hype away so much. It feels such like a quiet build-up to Sunday, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. And like, obviously, I'm not on either team right now experiencing this, but like the build-up was one of my favorite parts of it. Just really experiencing how big the game really is. Mm-hmm. Like how many different countries send reporters to interview you, and you just feel the atmosphere even before kickoff. And I think that's definitely not going to be the same, and they've probably lost a good percentage of that feeling, which is unfortunate. But that was like some of my favorite stuff was going down to like the little Super Bowl village and just seeing how many people were there wearing different jerseys and just how excited and all the talk all week, and like the amount of people that come to one city it's like for Super Bowl is just insane, and you feel it when you're a player, you see it, and I don't know, that's kind of cool. Like it makes it, makes it more special. And you kind of get like all nervous and butterflies and stuff like that. And like a week before the game even goes. So that's unfortunate for the guys, especially for the ones that it's their first Super Bowl and they have to experience it like this,
Yeah, God, if you don't get back there again,
exactly.
And that's your only experience, that's a shame, isn't it?
Speaking of that, how do you reckon it's going to affect the Bucs and the Chiefs, considering it's a Bucs home Super Bowl? So they've been sleeping in their own beds the entire time, not having to go to a hotel. And the Chiefs are only traveling on the Saturday, I think it is, rather than having the whole week there. Do you think that sets both teams up to be better prepared and less disruption?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it'll be like a normal week, which is calming. But I liked the difference.
Yeah,
like it meant special. It felt special, and so it like meant more to me.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna take away. I don't think it's gonna have too much an effect on like the game itself and how the guys play. But it would have been cool to see like a home team at their home stadium.
Yeah, with fans and everything like that. Yeah.
It would have been cool to see what that was like for a Super Bowl. But maybe we'll get it.
Well, the Rams have got it next year, haven't they?
Yeah.
So
I think so, right?
I think they have it next year. I think the Rams have got it next year.
Next year.
Matt Stafford can make a run for it.
Yeah, it was supposed to be this year, right, in LA, but then they moved it because of COVID to Tampa. So I think next year is gonna there you go.
Yeah.
The other thing as well, without having all the build-up and stuff, is on media screens at the moment, you're only seeing Gronk, Brady, the big guys. Whereas actually, in some of the funnest things to do as part of the media and some of the best stories that come out are the stories from the smaller tables around the team. I had a great chat with like Patrick Chung in the build-up to the Super Bowl in Arizona, and he was just on a table of like 5 DBs who no one was talking to. And it's like, actually, that's a really fun guy to talk to. He knows a lot about this defense. He's kind of integrated into Patriots. Was a really friendly, chatty bloke. Like, was a good guy to have a natter with. And those guys kind of miss out on having that experience as well a little bit, because they're kind of always a little bit in the shadows anyway to the big names on a team, and even more so now when it's just on a Zoom call.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's gonna take away a lot from it, and most cities want the Super Bowl there because of how much it brings. Brings to the city money wise, and Tampa's probably gonna not make as much. I mean, they've been open, so I don't really know if they were in dire need as like other smaller cities were. But there's definitely going to be like that stuff outside of the game that's pretty cool. That because right after the game, I think team planes are going back. Well, I guess the Chiefs planes going right back, and there won't be any post
parade and stuff.
Yeah, they might still have a parade, but I mean, I don't know
how you limit that. I don't know, but the morning after press conference at the hotel, which the poor coaches have to do at like 9 a.m. after the morning after they've won the Super Bowl, and they have to get dragged out in front of the media with like a fat hangover, and they've probably not slept that much at all and everything, and they're probably quite relieved that won't be going down, whoever ends up winning it. But it's odd, man. It's really odd, this build up.
At least we're getting a Super Bowl though, right? Like I did not think we were going to get one. So
yeah, like you said, Jazz, on time. That was
yeah.
There was some touch and go bits, but they managed to switch things around at the last minute, and then it all worked.
Yeah, and I'm glad that like there haven't been, other than like the barber in Kansas City, but that would suck if like COVID kept guys out of it.
Yeah.
That would,
Absolutely.
We'll just take the Colin Cowherd idea of the game gets delayed until Patrick Mahomes is able to play, right? That was the thing he was floating out with his injury before the championship game. What a ridiculous thing, man.
Yeah, it's like when he got that concussion, I was like, okay, if he wasn't Patrick Mahomes, he probably wouldn't be playing in the AFC Championship game. But he's gonna play.
There's an NFL doctor that's been told to tell Patrick that he's okay to play. Don't worry about it. Just say.
Yeah. Or it turns out he went to Epstein's Island. That's what happens.
Oh my goodness.
No, that's too much.
No, just around enough. Just around enough. You've been
saving that ref for something, haven't you?
there drinking?
I got some Don Julio Añejo.
Okay.
It took me ages because I couldn't find any ice, so I had to chop it off the freezer. You know, a freezer gets over frozen to cut it off that. So that's that ice.
That's bleak.
They're very bleak, but I didn't want to have
ice,
it warm.
bro.
Yeah, I thought we had some. I really thought we had some. Turns out in 2 freezers, no ice.
Come on, Jazzy. Get your head.
I had peas. I had blueberries. Could put some frozen blueberries in there, but not sure if we'd do the right thing for it.
That's so weird.
Don't put blueberries in your tequila.
That's what I thought too.
I bet you never thought you'd have to say that, Shay.
I mean, if you would have done it, I would have been like, "Ooh, is that something new?" But
No.
Damn, you British are taking tequila to the next level.
Try it, and let me know how it goes.
Oh, maybe later. I'll give it a shot, and I'll give you I'll hit you up and let you know.
Yeah.
Should we hit some of these bets then?
Well, I got to do. There's 2 things I want to ask you quickly, Shane, before we get into bets. Firstly, were you drinking tequila when you did the TalkSport hit earlier today?
No, but Will gave me a lot of shit for it because he was like, "I like tequila too, mate," and I was like, "Bro, like I didn't know. That's my fault." But no, I wasn't. That was early, and I stopped drinking before 9 a.m. So
that's a smart move.
Smart.
Yeah.
So, but it was good. It was good. Do you guys live close to each other at all?
Not really. He's more central
guys
London, whereas I'm about 30 kilometers at least outside of London. So, but if I'm in the city, and he's super busy because he's kind of full time with TalkSport. So, whereas I'm like a hired gun, I'll go in every so often and do some stuff, but he's in there hosting shows kind of pretty much every day. So he's got quite a full on plate. But I've been trying to get him on this show every so often, and it's just, same with him and Nat, like scheduling wise. It's easier to get the American guests for a Thursday evening UK time than it is to get a UK guest because they kind of want to be with their families and stuff like that in the evening, which I just don't understand.
Selfish.
Yeah, what kind of a man does that? It was cool because I Zoomed with Will. He had a whole suit on with the jacket and tie and everything.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Very professional.
I'm wearing this.
Immediately slide the tequila bottle out of view.
Probably completely naked.
Well, not right now. I was earlier.
Oh, there you go.
The other thing I would kick myself if I didn't ask you. Is there anything that changes going into a Super Bowl week that you see from Tom Brady? I know you've probably been asked this all week by every single person that you've spoken to, but is there any change at all in how that guy approaches the week?
That's like, I guess it's kind of like a 2-part question because like what changes is that it's the Super Bowl. Like, and I'm not a fan when people say, yeah, it's just we're preparing like it's any other game. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Because it's not. It's not any other game. It's the fucking Super Bowl. So there's that, but I think what is really at a premium, and I'm not just going to talk maybe just for Tom, but for as a team as a whole, is your attention to detail has to go up much more. The interesting thing is like once like there's like preseason, regular season, postseason, right? And I'm a firm believer that each one of those segments in a full football season is played completely different. Preseason is preseason. Regular season, you're battling with injuries. You're battling with who we're playing each week, but still having your eyes on the weeks to come. Said maybe not calling a couple of plays week 1 because you want to save those for week 5, right? But once you get to postseason, all that's out the window. The game's faster. Guys are more locked in. Your opponents are more locked in. It's different. It's just a more intense environment. And I think that brings the best out of everybody on the field, both sides. I mean, you can't, whether we played you in the beginning of the season or not, when we play you in the playoffs, it's going to be completely different. Just the way you play. because it's win or go home. And so with the Super Bowl being like the end of the season and the biggest game of the year, it should feel different. And you should study more, and you should be more prepared for this game than you ever have been prepared for a game in your entire life. And I enjoy that. I think that's what made it cool and special for me is the amount, like, not really putting too much of a physical toll on my body in practice. It's not like we're practicing harder or anything like that. But by this point of the season, you know how to practice. You know what you need to do. What you need to get out of yourself on a daily basis to prepare yourself for the game. But what gets upped isn't really the on the field stuff as much as the classroom, the studying, the game plans. That takes a premium towards the end of the season.
Is that why the experience, just finally, before we get on to the fun bets and stuff, is that why when people talk about experience of playoff football and Super Bowl football, that is a difference maker? Because there will be a naivety of people that don't have that experience of, oh, it's just another game. Everybody says it's just another game.
Yeah, exactly. And because I think people say like it's just another game to kind of control their anxiety and control all the other distractions that come along with being in the divisional, the championship round, and then the Super Bowl. But I think I feed off of that, like being nervous all week, being anxious all week. That forced me to work, to pay attention more, to make sure that I know what I'm doing, to make sure that I'm reading the defenses, studying more film, because I don't want to mess this game up, and more than anything, a lot of times when you get anxious and nervous, you play like a half a step slower, and that's going to kill you because you're thinking too much. What this game is going to be all about is the coach is telling their players, you guys have done the work. You've put the work in all year. Just go let loose. Just go play. Go let it go. Go fly. Let it fly. And that's the beauty of it. There's no games after this, win or lose. So you got nothing else to hold that back for. Put it all out there. You got 3 months to recover until the next season starts up.
Do you reckon there's also more pressure because that's the one game of the year that's the most watched throughout the whole world? So you go through your primetime games. I'm not sure what the average viewership is for primetime games, but you go to the Super Bowl, it's kind of a next level. So some people may never have seen you play ever.
Right.
You might remember you muffing the punt on the first play.
Yeah.
And that might be all you remembered for the rest of your career. That's just that kind of an extra lot of pressure on top of your shoulders.
Absolutely. But I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that we were playing a game in Phoenix, Arizona that was being watched around the world. It just meant like every snap is being watched. Every snap counts. Like I have like kids that used to make fun of me back in grade school are like watching me now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was cool. It does. That's probably part of the reason why, coaches try to keep a lot of that stuff quiet. Just they don't want guys to get too out of their head about certain things like that. But for me personally, I didn't really pay too much attention to it. Like it wasn't like something I thought about every day. But when I thought about it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be sweet.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, this is gonna be really cool. Which it was, thank God.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say,
thank God we won.
Turned out all right for you, I think. You were fairly involved in it and, came out on the winning end, so it was all right.
A little bit. Not bad.
Right, let's talk about some bets for the big game, because I know Dave's got a few. I've got a couple that I wouldn't mind proposing to the group. Jazz, have you got
I've got a couple of boring ones. If Dave says he's gone crazy, I've only got a couple of boring ones.
Are these gentlemen's bets or are these like money bets?
No,
I'm real money bets, but we're not going to put like lots of money on it. For those two boys, they might put £1 on them. I've already got a £20 win for the Bucks and the over points, because I think that's going to happen.
Win for the Bucks and over on the points?
I think it's over 56 points.
I think they're safe.
The thing is that if the Bucks are going to win, the last teams to beat the Chiefs have had to score over 35 points.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs aren't going to score just 12 or 15. They're going to score 25, 30. So for that to happen, it kind of has to fit together.
What odds did you get on that, Jazz?
I think it was 3.7 to 1.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I got you. I've got one here. I'll read some out. I got Mike Evans, first Bucks touchdown scorer, and Tyreek Hill, first Chiefs touchdown scorer, 25 to 1.
It's pretty good.
So that'd be fun. But, you know.
But you need both?
The odds,
You need
you
both.
Both.
They've got to be the first. It's not any time. So,
I don't see that happening for Tyreek Hill. Is the trouble.
You know.
I can see Mike Evans, but I'm not sure Tyreek Hill will be the first to score. I can see it being CEH or Kelsey.
Yeah, because don't you lock up Tyreek Hill as early as possible, and that allows people like CH and Kelsey early on to make the short grabs that get them down the field. And
Watkins.
Yeah.
See, because if Tyreek Hill, in my opinion, if Tyreek Hill was to score the first touchdown of the game for the Chiefs, it would be like a big play.
Yeah.
If it's a drive and they're moving the ball down the field and then they're in the red zone, once they get in the red zone, typically Tyreek Hill isn't the
no, it's
primary
Kelsey
guy.
or CH or
Yeah,
Mahomes
or
running
run it.
himself. Yeah.
or they'll do that little like spin move thing that they do.
Yeah.
And then they hand it
Do
off.
that again.
Then I do like the underhand pitch thing with everybody going this way. You know, I love that shit. That's
I know, it's so much fun.
yeah. That's
What,
fun to watch.
what have you got, Ollie?
okay, so I've got the opening kickoff to be a touchback, and I'm saying it won't be.
It won't be.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Because
I can't believe that's a bet.
I heard some stuff
I
about
believe
this, right?
that's a bet, but you just take the yes. What were the
No,
odds
no,
on
no,
yes?
no.
What were the odds? What were the odds?
It's heavily stacked in favor of the yes, obviously, but it's
Oh, shocking! Because probably almost definitely going to happen.
it's 21. It's 21 to 10 for a no. But the reason why I'm saying is because apparently the NFL for the opening kickoff they use a ball that hasn't really been tampered with at all, so it's a rock solid ball because they want the most perfect ball in the perfect condition, because apparently that opening kickoff ball goes straight to the Hall of Fame. As soon as it's been used, it doesn't get used again for the whole of the game. So it's not one that's been like squidged down and made a little softer by either of the kickers. It's not used in any of the practice or anything like that.
Or
It's
by
pretty
the
much
quarterback
a brand new, fresh ball. Yeah, no air's been taken out of it or anything.
I mean,
like
in the words of Reese Iffens from the Replacements, you put the ball down, he'll kick the piss out of it. That's all he's going to do.
Also,
He's going for a touchback.
do you not think that one of the returners is going to want to do it's the Super Bowl, I'm going to take it out? So
Yeah.
Just lose their head and go for it.
So
I do think that's the thing, but not for Kansas City. I can see Tampa returning it because Scotty Miller's their returner, right?
yeah.
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 I can see him bringing it out. Okay.
How
It's not
much
a good
did you
bet, but it's
how
not
much
as
did you
bad as
put
I
on that,
thought.
Ollie? $1,000? You put $2,000 on that?
I put a tenner on that.
10 grand.
Oh no!
Wow.
And what were the odds on it? What was odds on no?
It's 21 to 10.
Oh, okay, that's not bad actually.
All right.
Okay. All right.
It's a lot better
It
than a
sounds lot better
50-50.
now.
That's better. That's yeah.
See, I
Yeah.
told you,
Yeah, okay.
I will convince you. Join me in the no touchback, and it puts a bit of excitement straight away into the game. I mean, I'm going to be buzzing
There's
for
money
kicking.
The
on the
coin
line.
toss. You bet on the coin toss when you bet on.
Apparently,
Yeah.
this is another one I've heard. Apparently, the coin they're using is slightly heavier weighted to the head side. Apparently,
Is that your inside scoop? That's the cleaner's husband's brother's.
there are
niece.
people that are legit doing research on all of this tiny minutiae in betting at the moment for the prop
I'm
bets.
concerned about you, Ollie. I
there
think
are
you're
people-
going to go down a rabbit hole of betting here
'Cause
and
it's-
lose everything.
Because
I
there's
think
two
he's taking the
people
betting book
singing
from
the
me, hasn't
national
he?
anthem.
Yeah.
There's two people singing the national anthem, which is making it more difficult to work out how long the anthem's going to be for that prop bet. And there are people going back and studying tape of when the two singers have sung the national anthem to work out an average of how long it roughly takes them to work out what they should do for the bet.
Where do you find these bets at? Because I want to bet on the color of the Gatorade. That sounds.
That's on William Hill. That's one. Orange is evens at the moment, and everything else is better than that. And I think red is a good bet on William Hill
I
for
think blue is the way forward, right?
Yeah, I want blue.
that.
Or
No, but red,
or
because
green
they're
one?
both Kansas and Tampa, both playing red. So surely they'd want a red
Oh, yeah,
Gatorade
that's-
splash.
Yeah, I guess.
Do they think about it that much.
I'm not sure they color coordinate the Gatorade
Sure.
to the jerseys.
Was anybody paying attention to the color of the Gatorade in any of the playoff games?
No.
No, I didn't know.
Typically, you keep it. You don't want to jinx anything, so you keep it the same.
Insider
Okay.
info. There
Yeah,
you
that's
go.
good.
Love it, Shane.
Guys are really weird about that.
So go study the film of the championship game and the divisional round, and we'll find our answer.
So you're judging us gamblers for overanalyzing stuff, yet you as players won't change your Gatorade color out of fear of jinxing it. Come on, where's the?
What about yellow? Or is that whatever the original color is?
Orange is the original, I think.
Yeah, yellow might be weird.
Some people call it yellow. Some people call it green. It's the lemon lime one.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that one.
Unfortunately, we don't really get Gatorade in this country, so all we see is on the States. Yeah, we don't really get Gatorade here.
We got Lucozade.
Powerade, but not Gatorade.
Powerade, yeah.
I'm not a big Gatorade fan.
So the color of the Gatorade, we've got evens for orange, 5-2 for pink stroke red. I mean, we're already getting contentious if there is a difference between pink and red and all that stuff. Yellow stroke green stroke lime, again, is 4-1. Clear water's 5-1. Blue is 8-1.
Ooh.
So
I'd
blue
be
would be
taking
a
the blue.
fun
I'd be taking
pun.
the blue.
And then
this is when they dump the Gatorade on the winning coach.
yeah, the color of the very first Gatorade poured on the winning coach.
I like that 8-1.
But would that mean
blue
out
though.
of the tub? But what if somebody's just got a cup of Gatorade and that hits first and it's a different color? I mean, there's so many little different like. What drop hits first? Yeah.
No.
But anyway,
Why don't they have clear water in there either? It's not Bobby Boucher on the sidelines.
H2O. Right, I've got another
Gatorade.
one. Right, will Jason Pierre-Paul record a sack? I went with yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I don't even know if because Eric Fisher's out.
Eric Fisher's out. Mitchell Schwartz might be out, and Kelechi Osemele is definitely out. So if they have those three down, they're missing three of the starting offensive linemen.
Yeah, and he looks quality in the championship.
He really put it on Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
So I've got that one. So we all agree on that one. That's a good one.
Yep.
What else you got, Ollie?
Okay.
Wait, what were the odds on that one?
Yeah. What's the odds?
Only evens. So I put a fiver on. So I'll get £10.
Got you.
Okay, so I've got the longest penalty in the game. Over or under 19.5 yards.
Over under 19 yards.
And I'm 19 and a
Big
half.
PI, couldn't you? You could see a real
You could
big
get a
PI
big
in that
PI
game.
downfield in
There
this.
will be a big PI with those two teams.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't in the NFC Championship game. They didn't have any penalties at all, did they?
That was
the Packers
wild,
and the
yeah.
Bucks.
That was very
Yeah, but if
unusual,
you're
Apart from the PI at the end on the
Right.
what's his name, Desmond King on it was Johnson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
and if you're Anton Winfield Jr. trying to cover Tyreek Hill in a foot race, you're going to end up pulling him at some point. And
Just tackle him. It's better than a touchdown.
Just take his knees out. Save you
Just take him
your job.
Did you go over on that, Ollie?
Yeah, I went over on that. I mean, the odds for
Nice.
both of them are 10-11, so it's about putting a high amount of money on it to get your stake back and then a bit more cash. So I've put 15 quid on
That's your
that.
boy.
Yeah.
What was your guys' take on the lack of flags in the NFC Championship game?
Amazing.
I quite liked it
Me too.
Yeah, let
because
them
I like when you just
tussle.
let the players play because it means that if you're
Yeah, I
both
never
holding, whoever's
really liked
better
that.
at doing it will get there first. So the better player will always outmuscle the other guy, so to speak. When it was really clear and obvious, like that big jersey pull, you can't really argue against that. But at the same time, if they hadn't been thrown at the rest of the game, don't throw it then.
Right. I see what you're saying.
No, but
Just have more consistency with
that
it.
one for me is right down when they showed it from behind. The back judge is seeing
it's clear as
the
anything.
biggest jersey
Yeah.
pull of the game. It's not like a corner
Yeah.
and a receiver doing kind of hands a bit downfield or anything. That was a
Yeah.
full pulling back on
Yeah.
the jersey and slowing him down.
Yeah.
So-
And it was like a white shirt. That
Yeah.
Was just like they're gonna see that. Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
They would get
Yeah.
more. They get slammed more if they didn't call that one. To be honest,
Oh,
even
totally,
though they let
absolutely.
stuff go.
But it's just one of those ones where they had let lots of things like that go. I can see why they called it, and there was obviously the right call. Just that it was quite nice just to let the players just play rather than having any sort of kind of ticky-tacky kind of penalties here and there, which just ruin the flow of the game.
Although,
completely.
having said that, Jazz, which game was it in the playoffs this year where a team got 4 penalties in a row, all for offside, I think, and then went from like the 20 all the way down to their like own 2? Was that the Bills?
Oh no, that
who
was
did that?
wasn't it a false start, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, but they had like 3 in a row, and that was kind of fun.
Goff?
It might have
Was
been the
it
Rams.
It might have been Jared.
It was like a Rams thing to do.
And that's why you get rid of Jared Goff, because he's an idiot.
It was pretty funny though. So
yeah,
sometimes penalties can be amusing to me.
I think it was the Rams.
But overall, yeah, not very fun.
Okay.
So the ones that I haven't put money on yet, but I'm going to, are Mike Evans to have a reception over 24.5 yards.
What's the odds on that?
Against 5 to 6 for under or over.
Okay.
It's not very much. And then I also had Leonard Fournette to have, I think it was over 48.5 rushing yards.
Oh,
okay.
So I can see him having a decently big game.
See, I don't
think so, Shane.
I think I'd like Ronald Jones to get the ball more, but I don't know. He didn't get the ball in the conference game, so
my whole thing is I think they're going to feature. Well, Leonard Fournette's been running the ball well though.
He was good in the last.
How many yards did he have against in the NFC? Do we know?
Can't remember off the top of my head. It wasn't
80 maybe. He had like 15 carries. It was quite a lot.
Yeah.
I'll find out.
Yeah.
I like Ronald Jones a lot more though, but I'm not high on. We've talked about it quite a lot. I'm not.
Dave is not a Leonard Fournette fan at all.
I'm not a Leonard Fournette fan.
He only had 55 yards in the NFC Championship game.
Okay,
that's fine. It's over the 48.5.
But he had 19 out of the backfield as well, receiving, which he's done okay with. He had a couple of glaring drops early on in that game.
He did,
but
yeah.
Generally, out of the backfield, he's been okay at receiving in the playoffs this year, and he's just looked a much better player in the last 2 weeks of the season.
It's like they've saved him for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think Ronald Jones might go crazy.
He's got the pace for it. He got that like 95-yard touchdown, didn't he? Was that in the wild card?
I think it was like 98. That was
huge. It was in the wild card game, I think. Yeah,
against Washington.
He had one against I thought he had one against the Panthers. That was earlier in the regular season.
It was against the Panthers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I thought there was one in the divisional round as well. But yeah, he's. I like him. I think he's underrated. So
speaking of Leonard Fournette, then would you take a Buccaneers win with Leonard Fournette getting over 50 rushing yards and Tyreek Hill getting over 85 receiving yards for the Chiefs at 13-2?
Not a 13-2. I like
a
bit
lot
higher than
of
that.
stuff needs to happen.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
A lot of stuff.
I like Leonard Fournette over 50 and a Bucks win. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But then surely you'd tack Tyreek Hill to have 85 plus anyway, right?
I don't know. I honestly think, given how much they gave up to him in the first game, they're going to have a solution and they're going to try and roll it out.
Okay.
Well, they're gonna have a plan. I don't know if it's gonna.
Well, it's going to work.
Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, right?
Yeah.
I've got another one here. Mecole Hardman to score a touchdown and the Chiefs to win.
Yes.
And I like that one. Yes. I like Hardman to score. That's 9-2.
Yeah,
so
that's a good one.
I like that one.
That's worth a $5
than the one Ollie just said.
Yeah.
What about MVP candidates? I'm sure I saw that Evans or Godwin were both 40-1 to be the MVP of the game.
It'll be Brady or Mahomes.
The thing is, if say for example Evans catches 3 touchdowns and has
then Brady will have thrown 3 touchdowns.
But if he's got that many and say he takes one and breaks on a slant or whatever, you can't really argue with that. Is the thing.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, you can.
I'm sure they will. But I could see it happening. I'm not going to put money on it. I could see that being something that could happen.
Yeah, both of these quarterbacks, I think the league wants these quarterbacks to be the MVPs.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tom's already won a few, so he's going to be rolled out every Super Bowl for the next however many years anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mahomes stole it last year off Damian Williams. I mean...
Yeah.
Oh, no. Williams were crazy.
That was criminal, giving Mahomes that off one play. Like, pretty bang average night up until the fourth quarter.
They really had him bottled up. And I remember we were talking about that during the game.
Yeah.
He looked human.
Yeah.
I had Damian Williams' first touchdown score as well, and there was the play, of course, Mahomes runs it in where if he just pitched it out, I win. I think it was £45, something like that.
The option he never gave. Yeah.
Yeah, I was livid.
He knew that.
He did. He found me and he screwed me over.
Hate to see it.
So the last one I've put money on, I put 20 quid on this. I put a Chiefs win, but both Brady and Mahomes to throw over 299 yards.
What are the odds on that?
That's 3-1. So it's not amazing.
Oh, that's not great either.
But I think both of them go over 300.
Do you think it's going to be like an Eagles Patriot Super Bowl? They both for like 500.
Yeah. I hope we do.
Often when we think that games are going to score really big, they don't.
They don't.
So.
Or there's lots of rushing yards as well.
Yeah.
300 yards each. See, because I could see it if the Chiefs win. Because I feel like Brady will throw for over 3 because at the end of the game
he'll have to.
He'll be trying to get back.
Yeah.
If the Bucks win, I don't think Patrick Mahomes will have over 300.
Interesting.
Because in my opinion, the Bucks win this game by keeping the ball, controlling the clock, and not giving Patrick Mahomes more than two and a half possessions a quarter. And if that's the case, then I can see Mahomes not throwing for 300 yards.
So do you think
if the Chiefs win, I think both quarterbacks have a good opportunity to go over 300.
Do you think BA is coming out then to slow the game down from the get-go and try and run the ball and control the clock rather than thinking I've got all these studly receivers and a Tom Brady that's been lking red hot?
That's not Bruce Arians' way.
Yeah.
He's going to throw it deep.
Come on,
they're going to throw the ball, but they're going to I think they have to pick and choose the moments, because the worst thing you could do is give Patrick Mahomes the ball multiple times over and over and over and over again. Even if the defense is playing well for the first 3 quarters of the game, if Patrick Mahomes is coming onto the field for like his 60 to 70th play in the fourth quarter, like it's over, bro. He's too good, and now the defense is tired at that point. I think the only way really you beat the Chiefs is to run the football. Yeah. And run it and
keep them off the field. You're right.
Yeah, and if you want to throw it pass heavy, go ahead, but it does just throw things that are easy completions. Just move the chains, move the sticks. Then you take your shots. Oh, sorry. Did you guys hear that?
What was that? Is that a printer or something?
No, we're having some issues
machine
with one of my speakers, and so the audio guys are here trying to fix it.
Cool.
But you don't. You got to pick and choose when to take your shots downfield. I think once you get there's like we call it the fringe area. Are you guys familiar with that? The fringe. It's like 10 yards before. So it's like between like the 20-yard line and like the 35-yard line. Let's call it.
Yeah.
That's the fringe. That's like a high area to take shots because it's a shot is a touchdown pretty much. That yardage, it's a high percentage of completion, and you can get the ball into the end zone. And adversely, defensively, if you're in that area, you're going to bring more pressure to knock them out of field goal range. So there's less coverage. Mm-hmm. So I definitely see a lot of shots being taken when Tampa's in the fringe. But they're definitely going to try it. I mean, Mike Evans is too good not to like throw at least 3 down the field to him.
Yeah, many would say he's probably a top 5 receiver in the league, Mike Evans. Wouldn't you agree, Shay?
Yeah. He had a career year this year, they say. So, I mean, he is really good.
He is.
I don't know. Yeah, he's good.
I mean, the other thing as well, if you look at the Bills game, they kept saying, just take what they're giving you because the linebackers of the Chiefs not that they're not very good. They're not as good as the other parts of the defense. So you can easily find those 10-yard gains or the 8-yard gains underneath, which if you have Gronk running them or Cameron Brate running them or Godwin underneath, that you just take those bits and pieces as you can, and then you can set up your shots from there. But if you're the best quarterback to do that, in my opinion, would be Tom Brady, because that's what he's done all his career in New England, was find those little pockets of places.
Yeah, and that's why I think Ronald Jones has the opportunity to have a huge game.
Yeah.
Is because if
I wonder what his odds are for MVP.
Yeah.
I'm going to look that up right now.
If they run the ball like they're going to have to in order to win the game, it's going to open up so much for that offense. It's going to be insane.
All I'm saying is I know a running back that led the game in catches and didn't get the MVP for some God-known reason in a Super Bowl. And, it just doesn't happen for running backs to make catches out of the backfield and kind of control the game for their team.
Yeah, that's all right. As long as we get the dub, that's all good.
Criminal, man. Criminal still. No justice for these running backs in Super Bowl. Damian Williams, Shane Vereen. Forget Malcolm Butler's pick. Forget that.
You're right. It's so funny because every year around this time of year, you see like people on Instagram like repost like the interception or like whatever it may be from that game, and it just the comments are just explode as if like it just happened last year. I'm like, this was 6 years ago.
Run the ball, guys! Run the ball. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Awesome.
It's good memories for sure.
Right, Shane, I need to go, so I'm gonna have to leave you guys.
All right.
But yeah, it was wicked. Thanks for coming on and sharing in some of our chat.
No problem.
And giving us some betting advice. Terrible bets.
I think Ronald Jones, by the way, might be 55-1.
I've got him as 100-1 on William Hill. He's 100-1 to be the MVP.
Oh, that's going to be worth a couple pounds.
Well, you got to put that on then, Jazz.
Well, I don't have William Hill account, so I'll sub Ollie the money and he can split the winnings with me.
All right.
Is it William Hill like a bank or something?
No,
it sounds like it's a betting site.
Okay.
It sounds very, very posh, doesn't it? Like really kind of high end.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Belfort made it, and he's like, "Come trade with us at William Hill."
They won Super Bowl 50 with a strong defense and an offense that just didn't really turn the ball over, right?
Yeah.
That's the formula for success. That's how Joe Flacco got to the Super Bowl and won. That's how obviously the Broncos. But teams have won Super Bowls without great quarterbacks. But they
Giants teams,
but they've had great. Were you trying to? Is that a little...
oh no, Shane, that wasn't a little dig at Eli at all. I like how you picked up on it. That's good.
That was a little salt, wasn't there?
Yeah,
that's a little.
Yeah.
You put a little salt bag on that one. You can win Super Bowls without a great quarterback. I mean, bad
Big thanks to Shane Vereen for joining us on the show this week. You can follow him on Instagram. That's Shaner34, Shaner, Shaner 34. And you can follow him on Twitter as well, at ShaneVereen34. That's at ShaneVereen34. At David Bluck 1 is where you can find Dave. At Jazz Gillum is where you can find Jazz. And O_J_Wilson is where you can find myself on Twitter. And of course, get on to at Return the Picks, at Return the Picks on Twitter, to follow the podcast and know when new episodes drop. You can also like, subscribe, and follow us on our outlets at anchor.fm, which is our host, and of course Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, all of those good other outlets where you can get all of your podcasting needs. We are there. Like, subscribe, review, follow, do whatever. Interact with the podcast. We have a lot of fun. We hope you do too. And until Monday's breakdown of the game with Marlon Favorite, Super Bowl winner with the New Orleans Saints and former LSU Tiger as well, enjoy Brady against Mahomes, the Bucs against the Chiefs. Super Bowl 55 on Sunday should be an absolute banger if it lives up to the hype. And, if the Gatorade colour is blue as well, that would be beneficial for some bets I'm going to put on later. Until then, take care. Enjoy the football.
Over the middle, picked off! Sees it, fired, intercepted! Blitz coming. Pass is picked off!
He's going to go looking again, and it's picked off by Stephon Gilmore down on the right sideline.